Morning and waking, heart still aching. Something about the way you make me feel. I don't wanna mess up your night. I don't wanna put up a fight. I don't wanna trouble you, babe, but I got to say, I don't wanna waste no more time trying to shake the feelings inside. Finally got made up my mind. Can't go one more day without you. Can't go one more day without you. No, no, can't go one more day. No, I can't. Day without you. Can't go one more day. I can't go one more day without you. No, I can't go one more day.
NationIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. As far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised dogs, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airways, we talk about it. Brand new like the 10th place, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Grippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI, where my people at.
Let's get into it, shall we? Good morning, 513-873-7134. Let me do a final check of myself to make sure I'm appropriate to be in front of people. You know what I'm saying? Let me make sure. I think I'm Gucci. And if I'm not, so be it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the last honest place in these United States. It's the Nathan Ivy Show, brought to you by the good folks over at CDM. Amplifying Black voices. Good morning, Black and brown voices. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Okay. I'm not on yet, son. Just give me a minute. They can't see it because the camera's not on yet. Yes. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You got a 10 out of 10, huh? That is nice. You want to put the camera on so people can see your 10 out of 10? Is that what you want, son? Okay, we can do that. There it is. Boom. And that's the camera's over there. That's the computer screen. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Look at that, son. There you go. Great. Great, great, great.
And you can see on the
Yes.
I messed up.
Oh, okay. But you still got 10 out of 10.
And there's nothing under here.
Okay, great. Mind if I get back to starting the show?
And on the back.
Oh, man. Show the back, too. Show them everything. There it is. Show them. Great. Good. Good, good, good. He does his own little schedule. He don't give a damn about what I'm trying to do. But let me throw it back up here again. Teacher imitates Native Americans and does a tomahawk chop in front of a math class. I first saw this on Sean King's Instagram, although he got it from some other folks on Instagram as well. And this woman is now under fire because there was a student who identifies as Native American, and quote, the student, I believe a male student, felt as if this was an act of violence. Quote, violence was being committed against him. And this is what happens when you get an education degree from Trump University. You do dumb ish like this. So I'm going to play this for you in just a couple minutes, but I want to set the table. I want to talk about that. I want to talk again about the future of Cincinnati and drill down just a bit more specifically this morning. I want to talk about and give some tips to employees out there, people that are seeking jobs, because you may not know this, but of course the great resignation continues. There's so many things going on around employment right now in the country that we really haven't talked about. 4.3 million Americans have quit their jobs in August of 2021. I'll say it again, 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs in August of 2021, which is a 1.3 million increase since 1 year ago. Why are employers why are employees walking away from their jobs? I'll tell you what the experts are saying, and I'll give you my thoughts about it as well. Plus, I want to give you some tips, because whether you know it or not, this is a talent market right now. We are living in a talent market. The cheap labor bubble has burst. The cheap labor bubble has burst. What are you eating? Oh, okay. Make sure you mix in some. The cheap labor bubble has burst. And because of it, in my opinion, that means that employees, the scales have been tilted toward you, but only if you know what to ask for and you got the stones to ask for what you actually want. But I'll give you some tips about that this morning. You can also chime in at 513-873-7134. That's a free number anywhere in the country and in some places around the world. I'll take care of it on my dime. You don't have to worry about it. Just sit back and relax and just check out the flows. Speaking of checking out the flows, his mother is giving him a look now. Did anybody get a chance to check out Midday Juice yesterday with Ask Ashley? She had another fabulous topic. A lot of fun. Like I said, I'm not sure what you're doing on midweek on Wednesdays at 1 p.m., but whatever you're doing, stop it. If you're not tuning in to Midday Juice with Ask Ashley, you should be, as she continues her show. It's always a lot of fun and interesting, and you can learn something, and you can shoot her an email. You might be dealing with something and you want some advice on the low, right? From somebody objective, Black female, boom, shoot it to her, and she may Lisa writes, bump your show, right? And she may answer. Also, I'm going to be reaching out to some folks in the friends page because I'm working on a new project. People may think they know what I'm trying to do. They have no idea. But I'm working on a new project, and I've already shot a little bit of it. But I reached out to the friends inside the Friends, like the Nathan Ivey Show, and a lot of good people, a little over a dozen or so, said, hey, count me in. I'll be reaching out to you starting today. Okay, so I'll probably reach out to you via Facebook first and try to set up a time for a phone interview. I don't need any more than 10 or 15 minutes of your time. Okay, and you could be a big help in this project. It should be a lot of fun too. Something different, a lot of fun and interesting as well. So again, if you're one of those people that said, hey, me, Nate, I'll be reaching out to you today via Facebook first to try to set up a time to connect with you via phone or via Zoom style. And we'll take it from there if you're interested. Hopefully you are, because it's something I'm looking forward to. It should be a lot of fun and something different. It's something different. Let me play this video for you, but let me set this up for you. This happened, the video about to watch happened in a math class. So it makes you wonder, what the hell is this white female teacher doing? And I only say white female teacher so I can be descriptive to you. That's it. I don't mean that as a pejorative or anything like that. I mean, she's a white female teacher and it's a math class. And apparently several minutes after the math class started, this happened in California. I know people wondering, where? Riverside, California, at John W. North High School in Riverside, California. And minutes after the class began, she put on a construction paper sort of headdress and she started war whooping, and tomahawk chopping and dancing around. You see it. And apparently, as I said, it was a male student who identifies as Native Americans. And I know a lot of black people listen to this show. I'll say it again. Black people do not have a monopoly on oppression. I know we think we do, but we do not. We do not. And we should never stand by when other people are being oppressed on some, oh, what about us? It's bad news. When you see a snake in your neighbor's backyard, you kill it there before it slithers into your backyard. That's what smart money does. And we smart money, right? Most definitely. But a teacher started videotaping, and I love it. I keep telling people, you got a powerful device right here. This thing right here can change the world. You can change a lot. And when you see Karens and Darrens or whoever they may be behaving badly, just have the strength to get it out and just video record them or audio record them. I'm telling you, it'll serve you well. But get ready, because sometimes people try to get all violent with you. You got to be ready for everything. But a male student self-identifies as Native American felt, quote unquote, violence was being committed against him. Right. Violence was being committed against him. I want to play this for you real quick and you tell me what you think. And I'm like, what the hell? I'll say it again. See, this is what happens when you get an education degree from Trump University. Check this.
I don't know. Tomahawks? I don't know. Is that right? What that is? Okay. So got to what? 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 So got to no no so got to so got to what? So got so got to what? So got to what? Woo! So and eventually, I get to go home, and I get all of my feathers. There we go.
Again, this is math class, so I'm struggling to figure out how this is relevant to equations and decimals and numbers. Maybe there is a learning lesson to this, but I will say that on at least Instagram on social media, this is getting a lot of plays right now. A lot of people are outraged by this, and it makes you wonder, like, drugs are real. Drugs are real. I spent a lot of time in school and I just don't remember ever seeing a display like this. I'm trying to figure out what would explain this. I'm trying to figure this out. And if you're indigenous people, descendants of indigenous people or Native Americans, I can see how that make you feel uncomfortable, because as a teacher is basically making a mockery out of your culture. Well, then what do you expect the students to do? It creates a culture in which now you become a target for ridicule, bullying, or whatever else. Because like I said, if the teacher is doing this, and again, I want to play that one more time because I'm struggling to understand what the hell she was doing. I'm trying to figure.
I don't know. Tomahawks? I don't know. Is that right? What that is? Okay. So got to what? 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 So got to no no so got to so got to what? So got so got to what? So got to what? Woo! So and eventually, I get to go home, and I get all of my feathers. There we go.
Um, I'll just say drugs are real. Drugs are real. Drugs are bad. Absolutely. It makes me wonder if she took too many drugs. Like, you got a lot of functional drug addicts out there. Maybe she took one pill too many that morning. But it's funny that they don't want, some people don't want CRT taught in classes or any kind of a real account of American history, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh dear Lord. Our children. Dear Lord. So give me your reaction to that. Have you ever seen anything like that in a classroom? I'm just trying to, because the woman's name, her name is Candace Reed. That's her name. Her name is all over the internet now. There's various websites that are reporting her. Candace Reed. Candace Reed is her name. And she's a teacher at John W. North High School. I know some people don't like Sean King. And maybe he's open for critiques or whatever. But when I go to his Instagram page, he's got a lot of real shit on there. He's got a lot of real stuff that, people, in particular, black people are interested in. So I don't know. I can't really call it. Sometimes people just hate on you. Sometimes what it is. Or maybe there's an element of truth in it. Maybe two things can be true. I don't know. But her name is Candace Reed. And if you go on Instagram on a couple of sites, they got the whole about, they got the email for the president, the deputy superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the superintendent. I mean, these folks is real about it. They got the numbers, the extensions. So if you're someone who cares about it, and I would imagine if you are a parent and your child attends the John W. North High School in Riverside, California, if that was my child, I would have already called. Ain't no doubt about it. I would have been the first one to call, like, hey, we got a problem. We got a problem here. Now, what are you going to do about it? And hold them accountable. My first reaction is, again, I need a little bit more information, but I just feel like sometimes people need to be sat down. We're going to sit you down for a little bit, sis, so you can kind of figure out what's really going on with you. And then maybe you can come back to the classroom. But I mean, just imagine you're a Native American, right? And you sit in the classroom, you looking at this and you thinking, where do we go from here? Like, how do I go to school tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I go to school tomorrow? How do you stop other students from now bullying or harassing, the Native American students when you got teachers that are doing this with a construction paper headdress? It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Like I said, the marginalization of indigenous people is a threat to black people, quite honestly. That's how I've always looked at it. I'll continue to look at it that way. Because if we sit by idly when these kind of things are happening to other folks, it's going to be the same person that does it to us. And when it happens to us, we all in our feelings about it. Oh my God, we're the allies. Well, we got to be allies sometimes. Absolutely reprehensible. Them damn Trump University, man. Anthony writes, morning chop shops. Good morning to you. Education degree. Got a master's in education from Trump University. That's what you do. Brandy writes, greetings. Good to see you. Good to see you, Brandy. Anthony writes, like and share, fam. Good to see you. Daryl writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Let me say this. The wife, I had a good chuckle about yesterday's show. I told her about how we ended the show. She just couldn't understand where some people was coming from. She just couldn't understand it. It was hilarious. And then I got some more feedback. Somebody called me last night and was like, man, things got spicy at the end of the show. I liked it. So I appreciate the conversation, man. Keep it coming. I love it. Good morning to you, Anthony. Good morning, Naisha. Good to see you, sis, as always. Maxine writes, great grand risings, righteous seekers. 100%. We are really are we really surprised? The hate is real, psychopaths. And that's why it's so important for the now Washington football team and these colleges to do away with these racist mascots. We still got the big Indian sign over there at Paddock and Vine. That needs to be torn down immediately. Cincinnati can't say ish about nobody else as long as the big Indian sign at Paddock and Vine stands there. It's like this big silly ass caricature of Native Americans. If there was a 25-foot silly ass caricature of white people, it would have already been taken down. If it was a 20-foot silly ass caricature of black people, it would have already been taken down. It's just amazing how we can be comfortable with the marginalization of some people and not others, but it is what it is. Good morning to you. That's right. My son's like, bump your show. Care about your show, man? It's show and tell time. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. It's a beautiful Thursday, isn't it? Oh, my God. I love the weather. I got it in yesterday. Got my walk through the park. It was beautiful weather. The leaves are turning. Nice little chill. Oh, my God. It's the best time of the year. Love this time of year. Love it, love it, love it. It's cold outside. The insects are dying off or they're hibernating or whatever the hell they are. You know what I'm saying? And you can wear anything you want to wear. You can wear anything you want to wear. It's going to be beautiful. Looking forward to it. Nat writes, good Thursday, Choppers. Good morning to you. Tiffany writes, good morning. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Sean's in the house. He writes, good morning, King Nate and the Mighty Choppers. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for being here. Daryl writes, why so stupid? Drugs and overall insensitivity and or ignorance. My wife is like, maybe she's ignorant. She need to be trained. See, we got to let people off the hook with this. Sometimes when you ignorant, you got to pay the price. Sometimes when you ignorant and you do some ignorant stuff, yeah, you need to be trained when you get your new job, but you got to go. We will holler at you. You know what I'm saying? Naisha writes, she lost her marbles. She did. Nat writes, what the hell? Dale writes, nothing was added educationally. They got an education in white supremacy. They got an education in stupidity and ignorance, a lack of sensitivity. Like I said, if that was my child, I would be at the school. I'm joining a protest. I don't ever want to see this person here ever again. You have lost your ability to teach children. Simple as that. Regina writes, good morning. I missed the video. Oh, did you? Okay, I'll play it for you one more time because people might be coming into the show. And I want you to check it out. This is a video. The teacher's name is Candace Reed. She's a math teacher. What's up, Island Supreme? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. She is a math teacher at, let me get this for you, at John W. North High School in Riverside, California. So this is not something that happened here locally. This is not CPS. Thank God. Thank God for CPS, right? And children in Cincinnati. So this happened way over in California in Drops, near Drop zip code. So he might be hip to this or not, but I'll play it for you one more time and maybe another time later on in the show for people that might have missed it. Check this out.
I don't know. Tomahawks? Is that right? What that is? Okay. So got to what? 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 So got to no, no. So got to what? So got to what? So got so got to what? So got to what? Woo! So got and eventually, I get to go home, and I get all of my feathers. There we go.
I have no words. I don't think there's any. I'm trying to figure out what's the scenario in which that would be like educational. It's math class. No, she might, and I say might, have an argument to be made if it was kind of like, I don't know, American history or something like that. Maybe. And it had to be a damn good one, sis. It'd have to be dynamite. It's math class. This is the kind of issues happening in America. They don't want CRT in America because we want people like that teaching our children. It's a no from me. Dill writes, whiteness would explain this. Bigotry is a sickness. Brandy writes, good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Sean writes, bigoted and wicked. She writes, WTF. Charles writes, only in America. Jerome writes, good morning. Nate and the Choppers, good morning to you. Sean writes, she was high. Might have been. She looks high. Brandy writes, making a total mockery, shaking my damn head. And I'm searching. I've never seen anything like that when I was in school. I don't think I saw anything like that ever. I mean, I've seen some teachers do some effed up stuff and not really represent when they're supposed to, but nothing like that. Nothing like that. Anthony writes, a lot of these fools are on meds. Maybe she forgot to take her meds that day. Right. Either she forgot to take her meds or she was taking meds. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Drugs. Tanika writes, my smart, intelligent 11-year-old daughter said, why? Absolutely. Yes, you got a genius on your hands over there. I love it. Tanika working with a genius, black excellence over there. Good morning to you and your daughter. Glad you're here. Nakia writes, that was corny. I'm a Native American and feathers in your headdress are extremely important. Dale writes, these are some of the people teaching our children. I don't have any answers, neither do I. Sean writes, yeah, she was high on bigotry, right? Good one, brother. High on bigotry. The hell? Nakia writes, Anthony writes, the white people have been disrespecting Native Americans from the beginning anyway. Yes, they have. They have. They got it way worse than we did on some levels. They were decimated. And yeah, they're getting a little money here or there with the casinos and the reservations, but how many people think is really what they deserve? Raise your hand if you think is what they really deserve. This America don't pay what people what they really deserve. Tracy's in the house. She writes, hi, good morning to you, Tracy. Always good to see you. Dee Dee's in the house. She writes, good morning, good people. Good morning, Dee Dee. Susan writes, racism becomes a social norm. However, it is considered tolerable. But just think about this. You're a Native American in that room. Just think about what that's going to be like moving forward. You have now created this culture that I can see from here could be very, very, very uncomfortable. Something will have to be done. If I'm the administrator, something got to be done. Something got to be done, but we'll see. I'll keep my eyes on the story. I know Sean King and others are following this. I know some people don't like Sean King, but I mean, I don't know. Dale writes, I always believe this. If someone putting down other people of color, best believe they're talking about us behind our backs. Exactly. And that's the same way I felt about that dude that was the former play-by-play analyst for the Reds. What was his name? His father was big in the Reds. What's the guy's name? And he got caught saying something derogatory about homosexuals. I think he used the F word, something like that. What's the guy's name? Tom Brenneman. That was the first thing I thought about Tom Brenneman. Talking about, well, I didn't know the microphone is on. That don't explain why you using terms like that at work, Tom Brenneman. Tom Brenneman should never work ever again in sports. Mofos run around here making excuses. Because if he's saying that about homosexuals, what is he saying about us? What is he saying about other people? It's what you do when the mic is off. This is how you talk, Tom? You're right. When I hear something like that, the first thing I think is what else is going on? D Kick writes, good morning. Let's tear it down. Absolutely. Gladys writes, good morning, Nate Choppers. Good morning to you. Maxine writes, back in the 90s in my English class at UC University, I had a professor who showed the civil rights footage of the dogs biting black people and had the white students laughing at it. Really? Is that right? Really? Did he check them? Man, listen. I don't believe that. We got Vince. Hey, Vince, give me 1 second. Coming straight to you, brother. Crystal writes, what was on the screen in her class? There was a picture of some sort. You're right. There was. It looked like it was a drawing of, I don't know, like a TP or something. Let's look at it one more time.
I don't know. Tomahawks? I don't know. Is that right? That's what it is? Okay. So-ka, to-wa, so-ka, to-wa, so-ka, to-wa, so-ka, to-wa, so-ka, to-wa, so-ka, to-wa.
I don't know. The word Toa and what appeared to be some sick figure or something like that. Maybe that was supposed to be a proxy for Native Americans or something like that. I don't know. But let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hey, what up, Vince? Good morning to you, man. Welcome. Hold on 1 second, Vince. Hold on 1 second. It's all me, brother. I don't think I got you connected. Give me 1 second. I don't think people can actually hear you. Let's try this again. Hey, good morning, Vince. You still there?
Yes, sir. Yes,
There
sir.
it
Good
is.
morning. How you doing, Nate?
Doing great. Good morning, brother. Welcome.
Hey, listen, man. To wake up to see something like this morning is like disheartening. You feel me? I'm like, what? What's the purpose? But I want to put a different spin on it for a second. So we have a teacher in a math class, right? Who's imitating, or I guess say mocking, because we don't know what the purpose was behind her doing that. She made us see something that she wanted to demonstrate to her class. We have to be clear that on the West Coast, there's a lot of Native American culture that's out there. But here's the part for me that began to, I think, whatever she was doing went left. She did not explain to the kids in the classroom what she was doing. That is where I have reservations about what she was doing, because we can't say why she wasn't doing it. I just want to know, why did she not explain to the classroom what was going on and what was the purpose of her showing the dance? What was the certain things that she was doing within the Native American dance, okay, that would give the kids a better understanding, whether it's a math class, whether it's a gym class, whatever. It has to be some level of understanding, that knowledge that should have went along with what she was doing. Now, we can look at it and say, yo, she's a bigot, she's a racist. I'm not saying she's not any of those things. I'm just trying to get an understanding on why there was no explanation going on during the time that you were doing it, or when you completed what you were doing.
Okay. I think that's fair. I am interested in hearing what the explanation is. I do want to know. And it better be damn good. It better be damn good. Because what I just saw right there is disgusting. It makes me wonder how she looks at all races. That's what it makes me wonder.
Yes. Very much no different. She could be a Trump enthusiast. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. This for me, just putting the blinders down. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm quite sure that, there's people like myself and including you, we do these things, and we introduce stuff like this on our platforms, and we talk about it. But behind it, we know that we're looking deeper. We want the deeper explanation. Don't just give us the surface on your surface why. We want to know your deeper why.
Right. Absolutely. All right, Vince. Thanks for the call, brother.
All right, man. You have a great day today, brother.
Yeah, most definitely. That's Vince, and he's got a podcast, man. Make sure you check him out. Follow him on Facebook and Instagram. His brother Vince Pass. Check him out. Good morning to you. Hope you're all doing well. Wow. What in the hell? Look, coming up at 8, we're going to take a break, and we got a few more partners that we're working in, so the break will be extended for about a minute or so, just to give you a heads up for that. So just to give you a heads up. Tracy writes, I can't. Courtney writes, what does she have to do with math? Right. D Kit writes, wow, she has to go. Absolutely. Micah writes, shaking my head. She was definitely out of order. Billy writes, what in the holy? Exactly. Charlie Wimber's in the house. He writes, good morning, wonderful people, listening to you in Columbus, Ohio this morning. Absolutely. Yeah, right. It was Tom Brenneman. I'm glad he was gone. And then you had people making excuses for him, like, well, he's a good guy. Yeah, you can be a good guy. Still got to go. Darlene writes, hello, good day, Nate and the Chappers from the OTR. Sean writes, it was reported by scientists that the genocide of the indigenous people of the United States was massive, that it cooled the earth down by 1 degree. Really? Damn. Wow. Send me a link. I want to read that one. Regina writes, OMG, she needs to be drug tested. Remove her from teaching. Exactly. Drug test her quickly. Love you too, daughter. Nikki writes, morning, good people. Good morning to you. Eloise. Elo's in the house. Good morning, Elo. She writes, good morning. Happy Thursday. Gladys writes, what happened to her lunch break smoking or drinking? Right. Nikki writes, what the hell is she doing? What the F is she doing? Is she high? Had to be. Susan writes, I wonder what she meant by I get to go home with my feathers in my hair. Bad mental health there, I guess. She was out on that. She was on that gas. She was on something. Ryan writes, she was saying SOHCAHTOA, which is an acronym currently taught in upper level algebra and maybe calculus. Is that right? Okay, so thank you, Ryan Sokotoa. So was she doing that as a way of like giving the students a way of remembering what Ryan is talking about here? An acronym for upper level algebra and calculus. Maybe she was. So maybe there's a method to her madness. Daryl writes, you cannot explain the unexplainable. Nakia writes, that was extremely disrespectful to Native Americans. Absolutely. I'm not even Native American. I feel disrespected by it. White women were right by their man's side during the plunder of Native Americans and black people, but are the first ones to scream they're oppressed. No, white women are not minorities. Oh boy. Oh boy. Crystal writes, this teacher should have been invited a guest of NA descent to explain this topic or illustrate this story, period. It just looks bad for her to do it. Absolutely. And good to see you, Crystal, as always. David's in the house. He writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Nakia writes, the headdress is extremely important to Native Americans, and they dance with the headdress on. It's a cultural thing. Absolutely. Dee writes, the acronym is help kids remember sins, cause, and tans, and she had triangles on the board. The issue is she used it with Native Americans taunt. So maybe she had a good intent, but just a bad delivery. Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Shauna, coming through. Where is Al Catone? Somebody link Al Catone. Because Al Catone called in here about a week ago and tried to hold my little feet to the fire like this, hold me upside down in the air, right? With flames right here. And he said, I asked that brother to send me a link to whatever he was talking about, and I have yet to receive a link. Al Catone. Al Catone, where are you? I used to love me some Al Catone, the House of Love, man. Oh my God, that was my shit. The House of Love back in the day. The Al Catone was on the microphone. Oh my God, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Great. He was a superstar, man. Love me some Al Catone. But I gotta hold your feet to the fire, brother. Where is the link? Show me the money. Show me the money, Al Catone. He called in here. He was all in his feelings. He was giving me heat through the phone. I could feel the heat coming off the phone. Talking about, he was very diplomatic about it. Talking about how he felt like people like myself were not giving the full story on the vaccine. I'll sidebar it. Kyrie Irving, shut your mouth and go dribble. Get your ass back out there for the New Jersey, the Brooklyn Nets. Get back out there, man. Get back out there with your brothers. Tracy writes, Karen logic. Regina writes, okay, but did she have to jump around to do that? I guess she was trying to get the attention of the kids. Maybe, and her name is Candace Reed, not Karen, but Candace, close. Candace Reed. Maybe Candace had a good intent. She was trying to teach them. She had took one pill too many, and her delivery was all bad. Maybe that's the case. I'll give her that. Maybe. Marisha writes, good morning. Good to see you. Kelly writes, good morning. Good to see you, Kelly. Good to see everybody. Good morning to you, and I'm glad that you're here. Crystal writes, I would have been offended too. She deserves the smoke. Step your game up, math teacher. Now these kids will chant that when applying these math concepts, right? And it creates a bad environment. Speaking of bad environments, I want to bring this back up. And I'm doing this purposely because, this is what I do. So we've been talking about this teacher, right? And I think many of us agree that, let's say we give her the benefit of the doubt and she had good intentions, but her delivery was bad. Because we're smart, intelligent people that can be objective. We ain't out here trying to point fingers, or fingers don't need to be pointed, right? But we're not going to spare the rod. But I want to talk about Dave Chappelle a little bit. And we talked about Dave Chappelle. And I know Brother Christian Boykin with the Echo Chamber podcast, Monday evenings right here on CDM. He talked about it. A lot of folks talked about Dave Chappelle. And a lot of people in this audience felt as if Dave Chappelle was making a larger point when he was talking about the LGBTQ community and transgenders. Now, within the last 2 days, there's been a new development. And the boss, one of the bosses at Netflix, he's got some quotes in the news where he kind of says he regrets the way that he dealt with the whole Netflix scenario surrounding Dave Chappelle and the closer. The way he dealt with it is basically he has some LGBTQ people that worked at Netflix, and we're going to talk about worker rights during the next hour because we got to talk about this. Is a huge stop it. We got to talk about this. This affects our community. And basically the way he dealt with it is he told everybody to shut up and go back to your job. That's what he told them. You know, there were some transgender people working for Netflix that were very outraged at the things that Dave Chappelle said in his latest stand-up called The Closer. And he basically said, look, this is what we do. You don't like it. I don't know what to tell you. In fact, you might get pissed off because we're going to keep working with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, Netflix spent they bought that from Dave Chappelle for $24 million. So as much as Dave Chappelle keeps talking about how he walked away from 50 million, he didn't made that money back over and over again. He got $24 million for that. And I'm not sure how it works. I think the way it works is that Dave Chappelle, and I could be wrong about this, but I think the way it works is that Dave Chappelle has his own production company. So his production company produces the Netflix special. And I mean, I've looked into this kind of stuff. If you want to work with Netflix, there's certain specifications, like there's certain cameras you got to use. You just can't shoot it on your iPhone, on your phone, and then send it to Netflix. They've got certain technical specifications if you ever want to be considered. Okay, so I think the way it works is that Dave Chappelle has his own production company. They produce it and then they sell it to Netflix. So $24 million. I don't know how much of that is profit. Okay. Thank you, Naisha, for sharing the show this morning. I didn't say it enough, but share. I know we got like at least about 80 people here, maybe 70, 80 people. I appreciate each and every one of you. If everybody on here shared this on Facebook, I mean, you you would increase the potential visibility of this show in a way that I can't quantify, actually, because I know how much each share is worth. It would be huge. It would be super, super huge. But let me talk about that. Let me mix in Dave Chappelle here, because what transgender people were saying is that Dave Chappelle was basically reducing transgender people to like a comedy routine, to a caricature, very similar to what we are now talking about with this white female, right? And I read some of the comments and some of the outrage, and what they said is that it helps to create a culture in which it dehumanizes transgenders. Now, I don't think that was what Dave Chappelle was trying to do, but I think your intent and your impact can be two different things. Just like with this teacher, maybe her intent was one thing, but the impact was different. That happens. You're still responsible. And so I think there's something to that when it comes to transgenders, because we know that there's a lot of violence against transgender women, right? And people can say what they want to say about it. You might say it's justified or not justified or whatever. And so when you got somebody like a Dave Chappelle that is, cracking these jokes and creating a culture of ridicule around transgenders, that in effect, it can endanger them on some levels, right? I'm just wondering. I'm putting these two things together here. I want to get your thoughts about it. I want you to think about this morning. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm certainly not saying I'm wrong, but I just want to put it out there for you. So I don't think that was Dave Chappelle's intent, but that could be the impact. And perhaps even with this white female, Candace Reed, maybe that's not her intent, but however, the impact was still the same with at least one Native American student that was in the classroom. Just something to think about. You tell me what you think. You tell me what you think. 513-873-7134. Crystal writes, Facebook calls it spamming if I share too many places, FYI, and I've been warned. Okay, thank you so much. Facebook is on the dumbest ish ever. And I know I'm on Facebook, but we're going to change some of that real soon. I may stay on Facebook, but I want to house what we do in a different place, because Facebook is tripping, man. Like, I'm the admin of the group along with Jane, the friends group. And they send me all kind of messages about the stuff that people are posting. And I look at it and I'm like, are you kidding me, Facebook? Y'all let Donald Trump lie on Facebook for years and years and years about a black man. Y'all let him use Facebook to spew his racist hate Y'all let the organizers of the insurrection on January 6th to use Facebook as a platform to basically to damn near try to topple the US government. And now you want to ban somebody because they used the N-word? Because somebody called somebody the B-word? Facebook, man, y'all need to be regulated, period. We need the government to come in and say, you know what, we're going to do things different, buddy. Speaking of which, you ain't heard nothing about that, have you? You ain't heard nothing about the whistleblower. You ain't heard nothing about Congress and nothing at all. I'm telling you, Facebook got all the dirt. They know where all the bodies are buried. If you went on Facebook and somebody's DM, they got it all. And what's the use of having all this kind of information? And information can be powerful. But Cersei told dude, look, power is power, right? Remember that? That was a dope-ass moment in Game of Thrones. I can't wait for the prequel. They got me. I admit it. I'll be watching the prequel as much as I can. Typically, my style is I might wait 3 or 4 episodes in, like binge watch them all at one time. Oh, that's the fun stuff. Anyway, Facebook is tripping right now. 100%. They got the nerve to want to ban somebody for using the B word or the N word. And like I said, you let these white supremacists, these insurrectionists use your platform to organize to try to topple Congress. And now you want to crack down on the average Joe. It is completely hypocritical, man. And so the same things happen with me. They're like, well, you can't share too much. I can't share too much. What are you talking about? It's the dumbest thing ever, man. It's the dumbest thing ever, but there's ways around everything. So Didi writes, if you look it up, Sokohota is also an ancient leader that was known for being a great mathematician. Now the jumping around. So again, I'm maybe, again, smart, intelligent people are here, man. People be on a Google. I love it. Making sure we on point. So maybe her intent was good, but her delivery was bad. Either way, she need to be sat down and talked to at the very least and warned. It's going to be the last time. Candace. Her name is Candace. Nikki writes, yep, Facebook is something. Facebook is on 100,000 miles of dumbish right now. Yep, 100,000 miles of dumbish. It really is. And you can't get away from it because it's one of the largest social media platforms. So you can't get away from it. Plus they own Instagram. So it's hard to get away from it. But I'm all about investing in other platforms at this point because I got so many friends, people in the audience that keep saying they're put in Facebook jail. You know what happened to me? Facebook was effing with this show for about a month, like 3-4 weeks solid. Couldn't get on Facebook, which is great because it allowed me to expand on YouTube and other places. So where there's a will, there's a way. But again, have you noticed how you don't hear nothing about the whistleblower? Mark was like, release the Kraken. It's like, oh, you want to talk about secrets? Oh, you want to go to Congress to talk about secrets? Okay. We got secrets for you. Facebook know all the dirt. They know where all the bodies are. They know everybody that's been creeping. They know what you really into because they know what you clicking on. You might be in some of these little freaky deaky Facebook groups talking all freaky deaky behind closed doors because you think nobody knows. Mark Zuckerberg knows. He knows it all. Be careful what you put on social media because you don't own it. I'll say it again. Kamika writes, wasn't okay when the white lady was jumping around imitating Native Americans, but Chappelle is the truth. That is popping height. Woo. I'm just making a comparison here. I read this article a couple days back. It's about 2 days old. One of the bosses over at Netflix regrets the way he dealt with the controversy surrounding Dave Chappelle. And the way he dealt with it is he told his workers to basically shut up and dribble, go back to work. This is what we do at Netflix. And he's like, maybe I didn't handle that right. And all I'm saying is I watched it in its entirety almost twice. I understand what Dave Chappelle's doing. He's a comic. And quite honestly, if you really look at it, there was enough to be offended for women and black people. Everybody was offended, could be offended by what he said. But we do know that transgenders have been targeted. They are being targeted. It seems like once a month we hear about a transgender. Primarily I hear this from a lot of transgender women, transgender black women that come up missing or come up dead or something like that. And I don't know the circumstances, but all I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna talk about how, you know, how people in positions of authority can have an impact on the culture, then we got to include that with Dave Chappelle. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying he's right. I ain't saying he's wrong. I'm just saying. All right, with that, let me take my first break this morning, shall we? Want to remind you that you can early vote right now in Hamilton County over at the Hamilton County Board of Elections, 4700 Smith Road. That's in Norwood, Ohio. If for whatever reason you may have a question or a comment, you can call ahead at 513-632-7000. Again, that's 513-632-7000. I'm gonna step away for a couple minutes and we'll come right back. Don't go anywhere.
Good morning, Choppers. I'm Scotty Johnson, candidate for Cincinnati City Council. Unfortunately, injustice remains in the city of Cincinnati. A remedy for injustice is courageous, bold leadership. I plan on bringing that type of leadership to City Hall. It's time to stop talking about it and to start doing something about it. Disparities have been in Cincinnati far too long. I'm the candidate to address those disparities. Vote Scotty Johnson for Cincinnati City Council.
Paid for by friends of Scotty Johnson.
I'm former Mayor Dwight Tillery asking you to vote for my friend, Michelle Dillingham, who is a Democrat running for Cincinnati City Council. The black population in our city has declined, pushing black homeowners out, while speculators purchase their houses for pennies on the dollar. Black people are being foreclosed on because of rigged housing and economic systems.
Michelle Dillingham will fight for you. This is Victoria Strawn. You know me, Sister V. City Council prefers investing in a soccer stadium and gentrifying our historic neighborhoods. Malcolm X said that if you don't own land, you're nothing but a squatter.
Come on, Michelle, talk to the people.
City Council is being sued for discriminatory tax abatement programs that unfairly enrich wealthy white neighborhoods. I know because I've been fighting for reform for years. Isn't it time to elect a candidate who will stand up for the people over special interests? Vote for me, Michelle Dillingham, Democrat for Cincinnati City Council.
Paid for by Dillingham for Council Committee.
Hamilton County Commissioner Alicia Reese, and I've been busy fighting hard for the citizens of our county. But today I'm asking you to vote for my friend, Democrat Elizabeth Tye, for municipal court judge. Elizabeth Tye and her family stood with me in a tough election. Now I'm asking you to stand with Elizabeth Tye for judge. She's from our community and she's qualified. Elizabeth Tye grew up in Kennedy Heights and graduated from Central State University. Elizabeth Tye has been a prosecutor, a public defender, and has built a law practice from the bottom up. There is currently only one black woman on the municipal court. It's time to send another one. Join me in voting for my sister, Elizabeth Tye, for judge. Meet me at the polls.
This is Elizabeth Tye, and there is only one judicial race, and I need you to vote Tye for judge. Let's send a clear message that hard work and experience matters. Go vote Tye for judge today.
Paid for by the committee to elect Democrat Elizabeth Tye for municipal judge.
Can't sleep.
It's hard to pay attention in school.
I say mean things.
I keep getting in trouble.
I bully other kids.
I'm just scared.
No one sees my pain.
Sometimes I want to die.
So many of our children are facing trauma, but instead of seeing their pain and fear, we're labeling them bad, troubled, delinquent, or criminal. Let's look beyond their behaviors. Let's get them the help they need by helping them address the trauma they're facing.
Help me feel safe.
See me for more than my behaviors.
Understand that my actions are how I communicate my fears.
For more information, visit www.ohiostateofemergency.com. That's ohiostateofemergency.com.
The good folks over at Renew Community Church are at it again. Why do couples cheat and argue? Learn how to develop wholesome relationships. This is a live stream event. that you can be a part of this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. You can follow them on Facebook at Cincy Renew, CINCI Renew, and also on YouTube at Renew Community Church live stream. All right. Why do couples cheat and argue? This could be a resource to you and maybe your relationship or maybe someone that you know. So I'm going to post a link for this in the friends page and also on Facebook as well, just as a reminder. And when you see it, please share it. Please share it. All right, good morning, everybody. Again, if people are doubting how far you can go so far that you can't hear them suckers no more. All right, stay on your grind. Winners focus on winning. You can achieve it. It will happen. Got to be smart. Also got to know when to say no, when to stop, but stay on your grind. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. All my great creative folks out there. I know it's a lot of creatives in the audience. And this is a creator economy. It really is. There's never been a better time to live your life purpose. Never been a better time. Right now is the time. Right now. Do it. Do it. If nobody else believes in you, your boy Nathan Ivey believes in you. All right. You can make it happen. Make smart moves now. Man, don't be all reckless out here jumping and like, I don't see a net. Leap in the net will appear. Yeah, I believe in that. I've done it. It's worked for me, but you got to make smart moves. There's never been a better time to live your dreams than right now. And why is that? Well, just think about what's happening in terms of the employment market right now. It's a whole new world out there. How many people have heard this term, the Great Resignation? That's a term that was a phrase that was coined within the last year because there's been a mass exodus of employees leaving their jobs. Where are these people going? Well, many of them have decided that, well, I can learn to get by with less, and I want to start my own business. I want to do what I feel was always inside of me to do. Now's a great time to do it. Did you know that just last month, 4.3 million Americans, 4.3 million of our fellow American citizens quit their jobs? They walked away. A lot of this has to do with COVID, but a lot of it has to do with the way that they've been treated on the jobs. Now, I've been talking about this for years because, working for other people, I got a chance to see just how bad some employers treat employees. And it's downright despicable. It really is. It is. Whether it be the environment that you're working in, your pay, the culture, your safety, all of that kind of stuff. People saying enough is enough. You don't have to raise your hand because you might be at the JOB right now. But just inside your own head, raise your hand if you sick of them mofos you work with. Just raise your hand in your own head if you sick and tired of the person that you work for. You can't stand this. And you wondering how the hell. I mean, I hear it all the time. I've heard it through my whole career. You've dealt with it as well. There's a meme that I put on my Instagram that I look at on a regular basis. I saw this somewhere else. And it's something that guides me. Because damn it. What time is it? Damn, it's not. Lord, forgive me for my brash to let me. Sorry for the young ones. To the young ones, I'm sorry. But I'll be gosh darn. I'll be gosh darn if I use my God-given talents to enrich another person over me ever again in life. It's never going to happen. If you ever see me working for like a radio station or something like that, you better believe I got a sweet ass deal. Believe I'm getting paid. You better believe that. They paying me, or I'm getting paid in some other ways because I'll never do it ever again. God didn't give me these talents to give to somebody else so they can make all the money. But check this out. Look at this right here. See that? That camera is dope, y'all. How in the hell could a man enjoy being awakened at 6:30 a.m. by an alarm clock, leap out of bed, dress, force feed, piss, brush teeth and hair, and fight traffic to get to a place where essentially you make lots of money for somebody else and we're asked to be grateful for the opportunity to do so? I don't understand it. I'd rather be broke. It's never going to happen again for me and my talents. Now, maybe I might do some other things, but these talents right here, what I do, hell no, not happening. Mm-mm. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. And again, I'm never say never, but if you hear about me, hey, Nate took a job working for such and such, Nate getting paid. You can believe that. One hell of a paycheck or some other entitlement or incentives, not entitlements, but incentives. Believe me, I'm getting what I deserve. No doubt about it. For a long time, I got underpaid for what I was delivering. Vastly, grossly underpaid for what I was delivering. So it's never going to happen again in my lifetime. I'd rather be dust. And I mean that. Can you tell? On everything. And so now is the time, because so many of our fellow many Americans feel the same way. They're leaving their jobs. And they're leaving their jobs for a few reasons. Like, when asked, American workers are saying that there's 4 things they're looking for, or that's making them leave their jobs. Number 1 is better pay. Number 2 is better childcare. Number 3 is more flexibility with hours. Some of these jobs want to work you to damn death. And number 4 is safer conditions. And so that's the reason why people have been losing these jobs. I know the Republicans early in the year, in the last year, they were debating about whether they should cut federal subsidies to workers because people are lazy. People are not lazy. They just don't want to get taken advantage of anymore. People are not lazy. They just don't want to work on a job for an employer that don't really care about them, that don't really appreciate them. Like, raise your hand. You don't have to do it literally, but in your own head, raise your hand if you want to feel appreciated on the job. I know I do. I want to feel appreciated. Now, you ain't got to kiss my ass or nothing like that. I don't need a birthday cake every day, but damn it, I need to get paid. I need my children to be taken care of. I need my work environment to be safe. And that means emotionally safe as well. Because sometimes I've seen adults get bullied. Craziest thing in the world, but it does happen. So what the smart, intelligent people, the Doogie Howsers, as I put it, if you can get that old school reference, that was a television show. But what they're calling it, they're saying it's an employee market. And so I just want to share some tips for employees right now. And that the tips are this, that there's never been a better time for you to ask for what you want. Now's the time. Employers need you. Employers are looking for qualified people. So when you walk in there, ask for the pay that you want, right? Ask for what you feel like you're worth. I'll never understand this. I've never had this problem, but I do know it's a real thing that some people in those kind of situations are afraid to ask for what they're worth. I've never had that problem. Never. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to shoot for the moon, and then I'm going to shoot for the stars, and maybe I'll land on the moon. I'm going to let you tell me no. That's the attitude you have to have when you're working for us. So if you want some flexibility or more time off or more pay, now's the time. Ask for it. Ask for it, because they need you. Employers need qualified people right now to work in their businesses, their jobs, their nonprofits. They need you. So you go in there, you ain't got to take whatever they shuffling. Tell them you want more. It's like, yeah, I really like this, but I need more. You might be surprised. You might be surprised what you end up getting. You might surprise you, because it is an employee market right now. These employers are desperately searching for qualified individuals. Now, if you're not a good employee, but if you know you qualify, you a dynamite employee, you show up early, you go the extra mile, ask for it. Ask for it. Think about what you want, what you really want. Think about the amount of money that's really going to make you happy and make you want to get out of bed every day. Think about what you need beyond money, right? That's really going to make you a satisfied employee. Because you can't wait until 6 months. We're going to do a review in 6 months. Ask for it up front. Man, I have friends who have negotiated all kinds of stuff, man. Man, you can negotiate. You can negotiate more time off. You can negotiate all kinds of things, but you got to be able to open your mouth and articulate it, and not be afraid. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? You don't get the job. You don't already have the job. So what? Why you can't miss something you never had? You can't miss something you never had. So those are my tips for employees out there, man. Dig your heels in deep and ask for what you want. Know who the hell you are and what you bring to the table, because they need you. I'm telling you, I know people in the profit world and nonprofit world. I hear the same thing. We losing employees. In some cases, they're losing employees because of COVID mandates. It is what it is. It is what it is. So get out there and know who the F you are. You know what I'm saying? And ask for what you really want when you're negotiating on a new job. And I don't care where it is. I don't care what kind of job it is. Shoot for the stars. You're going to hit the moon. Shoot for the stars, because they need you. They want you. They desperately need you out there. What else on this topic? Also, they're calling this month Striketober. Striketober, because there's so many employee and worker strikes across the nation. Why? Because workers are fed the F up. They're sick of the boss class. They're sick of the executive class taking all the money, taking all the benefits, and then they want to give you a bowl of whatever. None of that, man. The cheap labor bubble has burst. I'll say it again. The cheap labor bubble has burst. So don't act like cheap labor. Go in there and get what you deserve. Now is the time. It's never been a better time than right now. Go get what you deserve, Mom. Go get what you deserve, Dad. Go get what you deserve right now. You know what I'm saying? And say it with your chest, too. And be willing to walk away. You might not get that job, but somebody gonna hire you, especially if you're a dynamite candidate. If you're a good candidate, they are desperate. By them, I'm talking about the employers are desperately searching for good employees right now. They need you. They desperately need you, because they can't do business without you. So don't go in there and punk out. Say it with your chest. Put your chest out. Put them shoulders back. This is what it's going to take to get me. You know what I'm saying? Have some effing pride out here, and you'll be surprised what you get. Like I said, I've known people over the years, and you find out afterward. I'm like, damn, how you get 2 more weeks of vacation? They negotiated it. Huh? I didn't get that, because my dumb ass didn't negotiate it. I'm like, damn, we got the same position. I think we making the same, and you got 2 extra weeks of vacation. How you do that? They asked for it. Simple as that. Good morning to you. Crystal writes, that's why I stay in Facebook jail. Sometimes it's worth it. I'm on thin ice on IG too, and Twitter also. Hard use. I'm on thin ice. Is that right? Facebook be tripping, man. Facebook be tripping. IG, Twitter, I don't really have problems with them, but Facebook be tripping. Like I said, with the friends page, they send me a message like every 2 weeks talking about what somebody posted. When I take a look at it, I'm like, this? Really? Talking about it violates community standards. Oh, now you got community standards. Now you got community standards? After January 6th insurrection, after Trump was using Facebook to tell lies about Barack Obama and his family, talking about he's not an American citizen, which is not even subtly racist. You had no problem with that. But now all of a sudden you got community standards. Y'all need to stop it. Stop the hypocrisy. Stop the hypocrisy. Dale writes, I hope I don't get you kicked off, Nate, but Mark Z was found to be involved with Cambridge Analytica. Right. You let Cambridge Analytica, and again, they weren't doing anything wrong. Really, that was very smart by the Trump administration. Trump was using advanced analytics from Facebook to target voters on Facebook. It was all legal. It is what it is. Kudos to him. Sean writes, I was born to give racist people hell. Crystal writes, facts, Nathan. Let me see. People still say freaky deaky. I don't know. Did I say that? I guess I did. You know what I meant. I guess it's an old school phrase. I am who I am. I love me some me. I've been reported for cave woman. Like, really? So you said cave woman got reported? Did they sit you down? They put you on Facebook jail for saying that? That's ridiculous. Now, listen, just because we melanated don't mean we can be racist toward other folks. It don't mean that. I'm not with that. And when I'm on Facebook, I'm usually for business and interaction with the audience. I'm typically, I really when I'm on other people's pages, I got nothing but love. I got nothing but love, and I just want to send positive vibes. So I typically don't get caught up with that, and I am careful about what I post, just because that's just me, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Because you just stuff lives forever. But damn, really, it's what it is. Angela writes, I just told a customer at my job, young black man, about your podcast, Nate. I told him to look you up. Oh, thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate it. We grow every single day. We grow every single day. We just getting started. And you get no response on appeal. Yeah, I mean, I'm sick of the appeal process, because you appeal it. You can never talk with somebody directly with Facebook. I've only got in contact with somebody from Facebook one time, and I was like, it was like talking with an alien or conversing with an alien, because it was all digital. I'm like, how did this happen? And they did resolve my issue. I will say that. Crystal writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Crystal. Good morning to you. Sister V writes, my Better Than Coffee morning show with Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Sister V. Good morning to you. Crystal has her hands up. Ashley got her hands up. We all been there. We all been there. Renee's in the house. She writes, good morning, the Professional Reimbursement Network. She writes, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hashtag creators create. Yes, they do. Good morning to you. Nikki writes, facts. Sean writes, preach, Nate. Adele writes, that's the American way. Crystal writes, amen. Preach. Me neither, mate. I'm the boss. I'll never do it again. For my talents, I'm not saying I won't work in another capacity, because I got to do what I got to do. I got a family. Whatever I got to do to put that food on the table and carry them bills is what I'm going to do. I don't have no shame in my game. I'll do Uber, have done it. I'll sell newspapers. I'll sell zucchini on the side of the street to put food on the table for me and mine. I ain't got no shame in my game, but I'm talking about in terms of my talents as a creator. That's always going to be in my hands moving forward for the rest of my life. Never going to do it any other way. Anthony writes, we see today's employers are offering better pay and benefits out the gate. That shows they could have done the same years ago. Correctamundo, Anthony. Correctamundo. American workers have been getting played for a long time. I've been saying that for a long time. American workers have been productive for decades, but the executive class has been absorbing all the damn money. They living their best lives. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to throw you a little bit of nothing. Hell no. Crystal writes, this city is terrible about paying black talent what we are worth. That's why folks haul ass out of here. Yeah, that's true. But that's why we got to get smart and creative about what we do and we create, and figure out revenue streams to pay us for what we think we're worth. That's it. That's it. Sean writes, employment equals slavery. You got to do what you got to do, man. I ain't above it. I ain't going to act like I am. I'm going to do whatever I got to do. Brian writes, legally speaking, they need you just as much as you need them. Use that leverage. Absolutely. Sister V writes, the COVID shutdown allowed most people to take a deep dive into self and decide hitting the grind every day was not living or prospering. That's exactly what it did, because people learned two things. They learned, oh man, I need multiple income streams because this might get caught off. And number two, like you said, some people got a chance to do a deep dive into their own life. To me, I looked at COVID as nothing more than a stress test. It was a stress test on your personal finances, the way you run your house. It was a stress test on that bank account. And it certainly was a stress test on your emotional and mental well-being and your own physicality. And to me, it was just look at myself and see where I'm at. Real honestly, like where are we? Where am I? And do something about it. Dale writes, and we got Drop on the line. Drop coming straight to you, brother. Dale writes, I'm convinced the capitalistic model is based on scarcity, which produces greed, individualism, usury, imbalance, and discrimination. Now, I'm not saying communism or socialism is an end-all, the be-all, but capitalism is not a panacea. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Somebody wins big, somebody loses big in capitalism. And we want to win, right? We want to win, most definitely. Anthony writes, I have no problem working with someone as long as my money is right and I'm treated with some respect. That's everybody, Anthony. Amen on that one. Everybody feel that way, but you don't get that. The boss class in some cases, will mistreat workers, completely mistreat you, because sometimes they feel like, oh, huh. And my grandfather told me something a long time ago. He was like, man, be careful about what you show on your job. You know what I'm saying? Be careful about when you buy that new house and a new car, because the boss class is like, oh, now you got a mortgage. Now you need this job. And they might try to do some F-ish. They might try, that's when the game start. Oh, got that kid in college. You need this. Oh, you got that mortgage. Oh, you got that new caddy. You want to keep it, don't you? Then eat this ish. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it, right? Yeah, some people try to do that. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. Thank you for having me, sir. How are you? How are you, first of all?
I'm doing excellent. Welcome, Drop. What's on your mind, brother?
Well, that's good. Thank you for having me. Before I get started, and I just like to say everything, your scenario or your monologue about how employees and prospective employees should act, it was 100 on point, Mr. Ivy, except for one thing. The scenario you described as a employee walking in and demanding to get paid what you're worth or demanding benefits that you deserve. The only problem with that scenario you described, Mr. Ivy, is that does not work in a union workplace. I'm pretty sure all your smart choppers and listeners, they all know that what you described does not happen in a union environment. So,
but does it need to?
Well, I mean, that's the only downside to the union. They don't allow you to do that. The union can still be effective as far as upholding employee rights and the things that they require as human beings. Because everything you described on some of these employers, some of them they're horrible because they hold the job over the employee's head. But the union should allow individual employees who are paying union dues to go in and negotiate individually. But that would pretty much eliminate their value as a union when you let individuals be individuals instead of being part of a group. So, but anyway, Mr. Ivy, headline, yahoo.com. Story from CBS News. Headline, Senate Democrats voting right bill fails in face of GOP opposition. Washington, a revamped bill aimed at strengthening voting rights and overhauling the nation's election systems failed to advance in the Senate on Wednesday, as Democrats couldn't overcome unanimous opposition from Republicans who criticized the bill as federal overreach. Now, Mr. Ivy, were you aware of that vote that failed yesterday in the Senate?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well, what I think was what Chuck Schumer's trying to do, he's trying to take the focus off of the divided Democrat Party with the current discussions about the infrastructure bill and the human infrastructure bill with this bogus vote in the Senate. Because this bill, this is the second time the bill has been up for vote. And again, second time, the Republicans aren't having it because this bill takes away states' rights to run their election and put it in the hands of the federal government, which is ridiculous because, Mr. Ivy, currently there are 24 states in this union that have governors that are Democrats, okay? 24 states. So the states need to pass legislation for voting just like California did and just like Nevada did and the other 5 existing states who have universal mail-in balloting. Because that's the goal, Mr. Ivy. The goal is to have every American mail in a ballot and have every state mail a ballot out to every single registered voter. That's the goal because they saw the success that they had in 2020 by using COVID as a reason to go around the Constitution that clearly states in the Constitution that anything related to elections is done by the state legislators. That is clear, and that's why the Democrats is attempting to pass this federal voting law. So that's pretty much all I got, Mr. Ivy, and there's no need for anybody. What?
I said, I think there's more to it than that. You mean what? I think there's more to it than that.
But Mr. Ivy, why would the federal government need to come in with a federal law and take away states' rights?
Are they taking away states' rights? Well, part of it is
in the Constitution. In the Constitution, yeah. Mr. Ivy, please stop, sir.
Yeah, but you know, didn't we realize? Wasn't it a part of the civil rights struggle that there were protections put in place on certain states where states couldn't change any of their election laws unless they got the express consent and the overview of the federal government? That was put in place for many, many decades until most recently when it expired. So that's the reason why.
Yes, that is. Yes, but see again, Mr. Ivy, what you just said was because the state law violated the Constitution.
No,
and the government stepped in.
No, it was because
that's exactly what you just said.
That was because those states had a proven, demonstrated history of racial discrimination in their election laws. And so the federal government came in and said, you know what, you guys have such an egregious history that you can't make any changes to your election laws unless we say so. So you're saying it's bigger than the Constitution. It's because of the demonstrated history and the actions of the people in those states. And since that expired, and we see Republicans, your brethren, all over the country now putting in these new election laws, maybe we do need a federal oversight over all of it to ensure that we have free and fair elections, because you can't trust the Republican Party. We know that.
Okay, well, that's the way you do it. You go to the Justice Department and you file a discrimination civil rights civil rights violation with the Justice Department. Then the Justice Department steps in.
But you're missing
the way it's supposed to be done.
But you're missing the point. Huh? The point is,
I'm not missing your point.
You are missing the point. Let me reiterate it again, sir. You're missing the point. You're glossing over. The point is that the modern day Republican Party that you love so much across this country is trying legal maneuvers to make it more difficult for people to vote, especially black and brown people. This is facts.
Okay,
and now you just gonna
Ivy,
leave this out and gloss over? So we need federal oversight. We need federal protections to stop your party from trying to steal people's ability from voting. If you're gonna say it, say all of it.
Okay, Mr. Ivy, let's just pick two states, Georgia and Texas, which are the ones that were in the spotlight for passing election integrity law. Okay, where was Merrick Garland? They did not file suit against those states for violating civil rights. They did not do it because they thought that they were going to be able to pass this federal law. But again, Mr. Ivy, every single state is going to fight to maintain their state's rights, just like California did when Trump was president. And they tried to deport illegal aliens. They formed sanctuary cities and sanctuary states.
You're wrong
to go against the federal government.
As I understand,
so again, Mr. Ivy,
I think you're wrong about that.
You can debate me. I am not a scholar, sir.
I know you're not.
A constitutional
I know you're not.
scholar,
but you live in the digital age.
But
you can Google well as well. You're wrong about what you just said. As I understand it, the Department of Justice did file a lawsuit against the Georgia voter suppression law. That's my understanding.
But the law went into effect. There was no state, there was no lower court that said these laws cannot. Mr. Ivy, see, here we go again.
You're being intellectually what you just said is why didn't he file a lawsuit?
Maybe
I'm telling you that Merrick Garland, the U.S. Attorney General, did file a lawsuit challenging some of the provisions in the Georgia's law.
What was the result? The result was that the states were within their constitutional rights to pass these election integrity laws, Mr. Ivy. See, you're being intellectually dishonest.
No, I'm not.
That's why I love your show.
No, I'm not at all, actually. I'm correcting you because you just said, why didn't he file a lawsuit? And he did file a lawsuit.
And what was the result?
I think it's still open.
Yeah, okay. What? So you say,
it's yet to be decided. He just filed the lawsuit.
You don't know. So you're going to question me, and then you're going to say something you don't even know.
As I understand it, early this year.
Pull it up on your computer, host. Discredit
so now
your
you want me to
caller
pull up something that you said never happened. You just said it
Nah,
doesn't
see,
happen.
there we go again. Okay, well, Mr. Ivy, I just put it out there, sir.
Right, and I just corrected
I just put it out there.
You put it out there, and I corrected it.
The fact is what happened yesterday in the United States Senate. Okay, now see, you did this yesterday with my call. Talk about, no, I'm not gonna say you did it, but somebody in the chop shop said, "Oh, what was your point yesterday, Drop?" And then your response was, "Yeah, you right. Maybe I need to rein in Drop because he began going all over the place." See, you crack me up, sir. You crack me up because you know that I come on your show with facts.
No, you don't.
Okay? But people want to challenge my opinion. My facts are true 100%.
I just challenged
you may
your
not
facts.
agree
You just
with
said
my
something that wasn't true.
opinion.
Sir,
Mr.
you just
Ivy,
said
the
something
law
that was in error,
law.
and
It's
I
the
just
law.
corrected you.
Then why is it the law of the land in the state of Georgia and the
That
state
wasn't
of
where you
Texas?
were in error. You just said, why
Where was I
didn't
in error,
the
sir?
U.S. Attorney General file a lawsuit against the state of Georgia? And in fact, he did. Just say you're right, Nate, and just keep moving.
Okay, you're right, Nate. Let's keep moving.
There you go.
Okay.
Now you
so
make
what
it
did you
sense.
accomplish? What did you accomplish by that? By picking out that one little part of my call.
That was a
when
big
everything
part.
else
What I
said,
accomplished.
everything else I said is true. The
What I
federal
accomplished,
government is
sir,
trying to take away states' rights.
What I
with
accomplished,
this mandatory election mail-in ballot.
is I prevented you from disseminating misinformation. And
It wasn't misinformation. It's not misinformation.
It was misinformation. It was the exact opposite of what actually happened. What do you mean?
Is it a law or not, sir?
Is what a lie or not?
Is the voter integrity laws in Texas and Georgia?
That's
just
not where
two
you were wrong,
of the
sir.
other 14
Did the U.S.
states,
Attorney
the
General
other
Merrick
two,
Garland file a lawsuit against some?
Where is it at? Read it. Read the
Did he file a
lawsuit
lawsuit
and tell me
challenging some of the provisions of the voter suppression laws? It's
what
called down
happened?
in Georgia.
Hey,
The answer is yes.
Well,
he did.
Well, maybe, just maybe, the voters, particularly black voters, who supported Joe Biden because he told them that he was going to do something, and he hasn't done it. He still has time, but for some reason, Mr. Ivy, Chuck Schumer felt he needs to bring up this bill, which has failed before. And again, you gloss over my previous point. The Democrats want to start talking about the Republicans again because they want to take the spotlight off their own divided party.
No, sir. You're glossing over the larger issue. The larger issue is that in states
That's the larger
where
issue.
Republicans are running things, where they have a majority in the state legislature, what we've seen is not just an attempt, an effort to legally steal people's votes, to make it more difficult for people to vote, to essentially voter suppress. And now the Democrats are reacting to it.
Just like
as
in
they should
Ohio,
be.
right? Ohio has a Republican governor.
Yeah. There's an attempt here too. The Cincinnati NAACP has been talking about for some time. I don't remember which bill it is, but there's a bill that will essentially make it more difficult for Ohioans to vote.
No, well,
even in a state
maybe you
that
should
went
read
for
the bill
Donald Trump.
Because Mr. Ivy, why now? Why now in 2021 would the Democrats decide to have universal mail-in ballots across the country? Why now?
What's wrong with that?
When they never wanted to do it before?
What's wrong with it? We should have had it already. Why don't we already have universal mail-in ballots?
Because, Mr. Ivy, see, again, the reason they never had it before because the Democrats cannot trust their voters to sign the ballots, fill them out correctly, and turn them in. So if you look at some of the things that took place during the COVID election of 2020, which was challenged all across the country, they implemented. Okay,
why don't you and the people in your party want more people to have access to the vote?
Never mind, Mr. Ivy. We're gonna find out.
I don't get it.
We're gonna find out.
And the reason why is because the Republicans. This is just my opinion. In my opinion, the Republican Party does not want to compete on ideas because they can't win. They'd rather
That's not true. That's a lie.
They
You
would
lying.
rather
That's a lie.
legally rig elections so that it makes it damn near impossible for them to lose. And instead of you calling them out, you calling in here every day talking about the Democrats, man. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, one last question.
Sure.
One last question before I go. So, So, Mr. Ivy, maybe you can find out why those 24 states that have Democrat governors are not passing the same voter mail-in ballot laws that the state of Nevada and the state of California, Colorado, and 3 other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. Why won't they pass that legislation?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
And my answer is in the question. So these 24 states that you're talking about, they have Democrat governors. Do they have majority Democrat state legislatures or majority Republican state legislatures?
I have no idea.
You need to know that, because when you answer that
why do
question,
I need to know
it'll
that?
answer your first
Why do
question.
I need to know that?
Because it'll tell you the reason why. Just because you have a Democrat governor, if that governor is surrounded by a majority Republican state legislator, there's only so much they can do. Quit acting like you don't know how this works, bro.
Well, I mean, if you know how it works too.
Yeah, that's why I asked the
You
question.
know how it works. Yeah, that's why you asked the question, because you know as well as I do that most states that have a Democrat governor, most states, and I'm pretty sure most of those 24 have a Democrat-led legislature.
I don't know if that's true or
I
not.
mean, that's just usually,
I'm not going to make any
usually how it
assumptions.
works.
I'm not going to make
I
any
know you're
assumptions
not.
about that.
I know you're not, because you want me just
to do some homework.
A high
I do
school
want you to do
graduate,
some homework. You're right about that.
A high school graduate. I'm not a scholar. I just come in here with facts I read from
sometimes you come from
Yahoo.com,
facts.
from CBS News. No,
Okay,
Mr. Ivy, I think you just like. I think.
No, I appreciate the
you
conversation.
Like
We should have
challenge
these
me
conversations. I appreciate it, but
because
I gotta move on.
you keep your mouth shut, zip, zero, nothing, no pushback from nothing. Anybody who calls in and challenges me, like Daryl called in yesterday with some BS. He called before I did, and then Mays, who called after I did, with some BS, and you just kept quiet. You ain't say nothing. But I get it. I'm the black, not Democrat. But guess what? You know what my name is, Mr. Ivy? I'm Drop Squad 52, and I'll drop in facts to anyone who's not scared to step back. I'm out.
He's dropping facts for anybody that's not scared to step back. Okay, that works too, brother. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the conversation. Hopefully people can get something out of it. I'm not sure if you are. I'm not really sure. You might get something out of it. You might not get something out of it. Looking forward to this event tonight. It's the Boss documentary release. And, we talk with the sister behind this, man. I mean, anything that's for us, I'm here with it. This is going to be dope. Sponsored by Black Art Speaks, All in Cincinnati Coalition, and 1NS. This is going to be really nice tonight. I'll be there. Looking forward to it. The wifey's going to be profiled along with some other very smart, intelligent black women that I know. So hopefully you'll be in the house. Come out and watch 16 black women leaders in the community share their stories on how they have overcome imposter syndrome and adversity on the road to success. There's that phrase again, imposter syndrome. And I know it's a real thing. I just cannot identify. Artists from Black Art Speaks will be showcasing their artwork, which will be available for purchase. That's dope. And BOSS is an acronym that stands for Bravely Overcoming Self-Sabotage. I like that. Shout out to Ashley Glass, who is the brainchild behind this, the genius behind all of this. I'm looking forward to it. So I will be in the house today. And also, if you haven't already gotten your tickets to the Freedom Fund dinner, your boy is going to be recognized with the Innovator Award. I'd love for you to be in the house. I think they extended the deadline for the tickets. So get a ticket, come out, support. It'll be a good time. Looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. You already know I support the NAACP and the work they do. And those are some of the women who are going to be there. That's super dope. Look at all these fabulous black women right here. I know some of them. Super dope. All doing things in our community here in the greater Cincinnati area. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this tonight over at the Garfield Theater. Looking forward to it. 16 black Cincinnati women share their personal and professional paths to success. Looking forward to that. That's going to be this evening. Looking forward to it. And since we're here, don't forget on Sunday, tap in on Sundays. Why do couples cheat and argue? My friends over at Renew Community Church are at it again. You're always serving up some good conversations on a Sunday, and this is virtual. So this Sunday, starting at 11:45 a.m. So that's after Straight Talk. After Edna gets off, stay on Facebook or jump on YouTube and find them at Cincy Renew and learn how to develop wholesome relationships. And man, I'm 21 years deep in the game, and I can always take some good advice. Look at them, these beautiful black folks. They look like they're at odds. What's the problem? Why do couples cheat and argue? That's $1 million question right there. So make sure you're in the house and check it out. All right, that's this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. All right, check that out. All right, let's go back to the phone, shall we? We got Daryl on the line. Hey, good morning, Daryl. Welcome.
Oh, that's for that weak sucker that calls himself a wolf. Man, drop. I mean,
for that, bro. Now you know you're gonna get a response, right? I'm just gonna say you know you're gonna get a response for that.
Hey,
but good morning,
you
sir.
know what? I love it because he's so weak-minded that I can get under his skin so easy.
Oh boy. Okay.
I had to have a laugh, man, but
right.
Dropping, I never heard so much gaslight in my life. The fact is, he said, what, 24 Democratic states. I can name three off the top of my head, and the choppers were putting in some states. Kentucky, Democratic governor, Republican legislator. Wisconsin, Democratic governor, Republican legislator. Pennsylvania, the same way. So I don't know what point he was trying to make. The whole deal of the matter was that was basically, in my mind, yesterday was a test, because what they brought up there was the revamped Voting Rights Act authored by Joe Manchin, who said, if you remember this correctly, he could get at least 10 Republicans to get on board with it. You do recall that, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. So they brought his bill to the floor just for debate. And what happened? They all voted it down. Now, some people may not know this. Why was it 51-49? Because Schumer voted against it so he could bring it back later. That was a procedural move. That's why he had to do that. So that's why it was 51-49. But so Manchin came out here with this bill, say, hey, this is what I'm going to do with voting rights. It wasn't the HR1, and it was the HR1, HR4, the John Lewis. It was part of that, and it was some of it, but I think Manchin's bill included some voter ID stuff, but they wouldn't even go for that. So, and he said the whole time, well, yeah, we're negotiating in good faith. He said that last week, and they voted it down just to have a discussion, have a debate. So the Republicans, his party, is not operating in good faith at all. And it's about power, like I said yesterday. And I wasn't intending to call, but, Trump just, the dude just don't have any facts. And you remember the Shelby v. Holder a few years ago in Alabama? That right there was the crux of the voting rights bill that was passed year after year after year after year, but was never codified in the law. And once that Shelby v. Holder went down in Alabama, that removed pre-clearance. And that's when Justice Roberts came back and said, well, I don't see any problem with, racism. We're past that, basically. So really what we need to do from a legislative standpoint is to apply pre-clearance
to every state in the union. Every state should be under pre-clearance. That means if you're going to do what Texas is doing, if you're going to do what Georgia's doing, then that has to be ran past the Department of Justice. I believe it's the Department of Justice. But there's some oversight federally before you can start instituting voting laws that impact disparate or, people of color. And that's what you have in Texas. That's what you have here in Georgia. For him to sit there and say, oh, where's the DOJ? The DOJ is all up in Georgia. They did file suit in Georgia. They filed suit in Texas. In addition to the redistricting that's going on in Texas, that's even in the courts because all the population that's coming to Texas is all people of color. And they had a map yesterday where they cut out the districts and made them, predominantly all white so Republicans can win, but that's not reflective of the census and reflective of the growth of the state of Texas. And so I don't know what Drop is trying to sell. I don't know what he's trying to put out there, but it's just a bunch of junk. And I'm glad you caught him on it, and he was laughing and giggling, trying to giggle his way out of it. But he really didn't have any points other than to just sow confusion. And the chopper's not having it, you not having it, and we just got to stay on top of this. But I will say this: we're going to have to come, like I said yesterday, to a point where we have to. I know we're going to look at it like, what have they done for us? But the reality is looking like we're not going to get everything. Hopefully they can get something through, but we're going to have to take a tough vote. We might have to, because the alternative is to let Republicans have the House and have the Senate, and then they're going to try to put Trump back in charge or somebody like Trump. And then you're going to have an basically apartheid system, or the beginning of an apartheid system. And so that's really what you're voting for. You're not voting for now. And you kind of are, but you're not. You're really voting at this point. We're voting to hold on to democracy. And then we can work out the intangibles, which I'm fully supportive of. I know it's a hard sell, but we're voting on the intangibles later because if we go into apartheid, it ain't gonna matter. That reparations discussion, please. They ain't hearing that. They want to eradicate us. Honestly, the GOP, the current state of the GOP, they want to eradicate people of color. That's the bottom line. And when you look at it that way, I believe things become clearer to you. Sorry for rambling, Nate, but thanks for listening to me.
Appreciate the
Take
call.
care, brother.
He is hilarious. Oh boy. I know there's at least one member of the alt middle out there that's probably licking his wounds right now. I don't know if we'll hear from him or not, but we shall see. We shall see. Now, listen, we kicked off today's show, but right before we take a break at the top of the hour, we kicked off today's show talking about this teacher. This teacher is from California, math, and she's getting some heat because she imitated Native Americans. She did like a tomahawk chop and was doing a war whoop and all this other kind of stuff. And it really caught people off guard. And there was a student in the classroom that identifies as Native American that posted this along with some allies on Instagram. That's where I caught it. I saw it on Sean King's Instagram. I know some people have a problem with him, but it is what it is. And so I played the video for you, trying to figure out what the hell she was doing. And Smart Choppers was deciphering it, man. Y'all was on straight on that on your Sherlock Holmes, breaking down the clues, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And, maybe she was trying to make some point about math or something like that, but her delivery was all wrong. I'm going to play it for you one more time for the people, because somebody just sent me a message saying play it again. I'll play it for you one more time, then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back for the rest of the show. Check this out.
I don't know. Tomahawks? Is that right? What that is? Okay. So got to what? So got to what? So got to what? So got to what? So and the bench length. I get to go home. And I get all of my feathers. There we go.
Yeah, you get to go home all right, permanently, indefinitely. Sis, go home, lay down, rest your head. And people are saying that the student that was in the room said that, quote, let me pull it back up. And the woman's name is Candace Reed, by the way. And it's a school out in California, Riverside, California, John W. North High School. So it's a high school. And the student said, quote, I felt as if violence was being committed against me or against him. And we'll see what happens. I'll follow the story. Now, the Sherlock Holmes members of the audience was like breaking down what she was saying, SOHCAHTOA. And some people are saying it's kind of like a term that's an acronym that's used to remember, I don't know, algebra or calculus, equations or whatever. And then somebody else said that is the name of what historical Native American. Again, I don't know enough to really tell you what I think it is. I thought it was quite honestly, very, very shocking. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say she had a good intent, but the impact was all bad. The delivery was all bad. She still needs to be sat down. I just very tone deaf and culturally insensitive at the very least, and straight up white supremacists at the worst. You tell me. And so I connected that to Dave Chappelle, who got a lot of heat for what he was saying about transgenders, in the sense that wasn't really his intent. I think he was just telling jokes. You know, Netflix paid his company $24 million for that special. He just telling jokes and using transgender in the LGBT community as an example. But hold on, pump the brakes, because a lot of black folks want to give them pass, like, oh, it's just jokes. And all I'm saying is that it seems to me that, like, people in general are much more comfortable when other people are the focus of ridicule. When it's us or when it's you, we all in our feelings. When it's somebody else, it's just a joke. Laugh a little. And again, at least once a month, once every month and a half, I read about a transgender woman. It's typically a transgender black woman, being born a man, now living as a woman, that's found dead in a river, in a ditch or something like that, coming up missing. And it's like, we can't act like there isn't an issue out here as it relates to transgender individuals. We can't act like that. Now, this is a real phenomenon. This is a real thing, right? We can have different opinions about it, but this is a real thing. And perhaps, you know, jokes of the nature that you got from Dave Chappelle contributes to a culture that dehumanizes transgenders and therefore puts them in jeopardy. Now, I say that because I read 2 days ago an article in which one of the big time Netflix executives is saying that he feels like he dealt with the whole Dave Chappelle thing wrongly. And I read some quotes from some of the Netflix employees, some of them transgender, and they felt as if it made them feel unsafe. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So there's a connection here. You got this young Native American student in this high school in California, and you got the antics of a teacher. He feels unsafe. And you got these transgender employees at Netflix, and you got the antics of Dave Chappelle, who's a performer, and they say they feel unsafe. Maybe they're both true. That's all I'm saying. Just giving you something to think about. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. I'm live, I'm local, and I'm vocal. Don't forget, you can early vote right now. Early vote right now in Hamilton County, over at the Hamilton County Board of Elections. Let your voice be heard. Right, you got a real serious role to play, a very important role to play in deciding on who are going to be the leaders that usher us into a whole new era here in the city of Cincinnati. I'm talking about mayor, city council. You got ballot issues, and of course, we cannot forget, very important, you got people on the Cincinnati School Board. And we learned this year just how important that is. It's life and death. It's life and death in terms of the school board. So think about it. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Good morning, Choppers. I'm Scotty Johnson, candidate for Cincinnati City Council. Unfortunately, injustice remains in the city of Cincinnati. A remedy for injustice is courageous, bold leadership. I plan on bringing that type of leadership to City Hall. It's time to stop talking about it and to start doing something about it. Disparities have been in Cincinnati far too long. I'm the candidate to address those disparities. Vote Scotty Johnson for Cincinnati City Council.
Paid for by friends of Scotty Johnson.
I'm former Mayor Dwight Tillery asking you to vote for my friend, Michelle Dillingham, who is a Democrat running for Cincinnati City Council. The black population in our city has declined, pushing black homeowners out while speculators purchase their houses for pennies on the dollar. Black people are being foreclosed on because of rigged housing and economic systems.
Michelle Dillingham will fight for you. This is Victoria Strawn. You know me, Sister V. City Council prefers investing in a soccer stadium and gentrifying our historic neighborhoods. Malcolm X said that if you don't own land, you're nothing but a squatter.
Come on, Michelle, talk to the people.
City Council is being sued for discriminatory tax abatement programs that unfairly enrich wealthy white neighborhoods. I know because I've been fighting for reform for years. Isn't it time to elect a candidate who will stand up for the people over special interests? Vote for me, Michelle Dillingham, Democrat for Cincinnati City Council.
Paid for by Dillingham for Council Committee.
I wish I could vote.
Why?
I would vote for Elizabeth Tai for judge. She has 18 years of experience as a prosecutor and defense attorney. Elizabeth Tai is strong, compassionate, and will be fair. She's someone I look up to.
Elizabeth Tai is a good choice. Vote for Elizabeth Tai for judge.
TYE, that's the judge for me.
I'm attorney Elizabeth Tai, and I'm asking for your vote for municipal court judge on November 2nd.
Paid for by the committee to elect Democrat Elizabeth Tai for municipal judge.
I ran away from heartbreak. Got nothing in return for my pain.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Very quick break. Let's get back into it, shall we? 513-873-7134. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We haven't talked about this, but in the time we have left, a couple things. Feel free to chime in on anything that we've discussed this far. Feel free, even though we're moving on to other topics, man. But this case comes from to us from Pennsylvania. And now authorities are saying that charges are unlikely for riders who saw a Philadelphia train rape but didn't intervene. You hear about this? Legal experts say that unrelated passengers don't have a legal duty to intervene under Pennsylvania law. So let me paint this picture for you. A woman is being sexually assaulted on a train. Commuters were on the train in the same car. From what I just read or what's been reported, she was sexually assaulted for about 6 to 8 minutes by a man in front of everybody. And apparently commuters were doing this. They were just putting up the phone. Seemingly, they were recording it, but nobody intervened. And so there's been a big question about legally, what should you do in a situation like that? Now, prosecutors are pursuing a case against the alleged perpetrator, the man accused of raping a woman on a commuter train. But there's going to be no charges for the passengers for not intervening. And that's quite interesting. It really, really is. Like, quote, Pennsylvania law does not allow for the prosecution of a passenger who may have witnessed a crime. So does that seem true? Should it be against the law? Should you be legally compelled to intervene if you see somebody being sexually assaulted? And for that matter, I mean, that I think if the answer is yes, that becomes a slippery slope. So what if I see somebody being mugged? Should I be legally compelled? Currently, I don't believe that is the law of the land. I certainly don't believe that's the way the law is in Ohio. For people that are smart legal minds out there and got more information, please tell me. This happened back on October the 13th. Apparently, the woman was repeatedly touched and groped, right? And then the perpetrator forced himself on her. He ripped the woman's pants off and proceeded to rape her for between 6 and 8 minutes before officers boarded the train and detained him. You imagine that? Can you imagine how she feels? Her horror. She's sitting there and people are like watching and people don't intervene. Why do you think people didn't intervene? Why do you think that nobody stood forward? Is it cowardice? What would you do? Now, it's hard to say because everybody in here is going to say, I'm going to step in, but until you're in that situation, you don't really know what you're going to do. You know, I would like to believe I would step in as well. Like, hey, you ain't about to do that in front of me, yo. I won't be able to live with myself. You ain't about to get that off right now. We're going to have to go down, you know, right here, right now. See, situations like this is why, you know, the Second Amendment crowd gets so much traction because situations like this scare the bejesus out of people, you know. You know, what I would hope in a situation like that, that anybody, the woman involved, she pull out her piece out and do what she got to do. But why do you think that people didn't intervene? Think about it. Authorities are investigating as to whether there are any recordings out there because what's being reported is that people just start World Star. Well, let me record this. Now, maybe they thought that's what they were going to do to help the situation, but nobody intervened. Why do you think that is? 513-873-7134. Do we live in a society where people just don't care? Do you think that it's because people just don't want to get caught up in the matrix? That's what I think. They don't want to get caught up with it. It's like, not me. I ain't trying to die. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is. We know what it is. It's fear. You know, that's how most people are. People don't want to get involved. People don't want to get involved. Like that's why I say I'm all about the Second Amendment. I'm pro concealed carry because in what I've seen, and I've even seen this in minor situations where it's like a bullying situation, nobody comes to your defense. Nobody comes in. It's very rare for somebody to step in and put themselves in a line of fire when you're dealing with stuff. Nobody steps in there. Nobody's going to say anything. Because most people just don't want to what? I don't want to get involved. They don't want to get involved. They don't want that smoke. I don't want nothing to do with it. Not me. Sister V writes, wondering why they didn't intervene. Did the rapists have a weapon or are we just cowards? I would say even in a case where they don't have a weapon, people are afraid of what they might have that you don't see. But he could have a weapon. Legal experts say unrelated passengers don't have a legal duty to intervene under Pennsylvania law. And I'd like to know, do you think that should be changed in a situation like that? Crystal writes, I've been defending people since I was a kid. I'll help anyone. Alicia writes, in the LV case, the child was black and the perp and witnesses were both white. Washburn writes, if it was the police assaulting the woman, people would have said something at the least, but why not when at the point playing devil's advocate? Brenda writes, despicable. Shannon writes, rape is in private is embarrassing enough, but to be raped and recorded in public is so much worse. I'm so saddened by this. It's a very sad story. I know that Akeem brought this up a couple days ago, but I wanted to wait and see what was going to happen. The perpetrator has been charged with rape and related sexual assault offenses and is being held on a $180,000 bond and is awaiting an initial appearance scheduled for October the 25th, which is Monday or Tuesday? Monday. And the victim cannot be reached. That is crazy, man. Again, should the law be changed? Is that even fair to unrelated people? If you see a crime being committed, let's say a vicious crime being committed against somebody, should you be legally compelled to intervene and put your life on the line for some people that you don't even know? You don't even know the situation. That's part of it. I think part of it, people don't know, like, do they know one another? Or is that girlfriend, boyfriend? Is this domestic violence? Is that his wife? Is that his girlfriend? I don't know. Alicia writes, several years ago, a child was raped and murdered by a college student in an LV casino bathroom. It was witnessed by another college student. He didn't intervene either. He wasn't charged either. Eric writes, what was the race of the victim and the perpetrator? Perhaps that could be your answer. I don't know. I don't have any clues to that. Nothing in, I've read at least 2 articles about it this morning, and there's nothing in either of the articles. If you find that information, because to be real here, that could play a part. That could play a part, but damn, I mean, I don't care what the race is. Right is right and wrong is wrong. I ain't going out like that. I got to live with myself. I got to come home. You know, I got to look at myself in the mirror. Crystal writes, no, OMG, no one helped her. That's crazy. I would have been involved. I would have gotten involved. I could never watch something go down like that. I can't imagine that, she says. Absolutely. Jericho writes, they talked about it on the Lincoln Ware show. Is that right? Very, very sad. Okay, back to more of your chat. Joy's in the house. She writes good morning, or shaking my head, not good morning. Jericho writes, who watched the live that we discussed yesterday? You talking about here? This live yesterday? What are you talking about, Jericho? Not sure. TNT writes, the LGBTQ community just dug deeper and generalized the special as homophobic, as if that community is off limits. In comedy, it is not. And what he says often compares the triumph of that community compared to our struggle. He does. True that. I'm just making a point here. I'm just saying, let's not act like transgender people don't have a reason to be fearful. That's all I'm trying to say. Because I say at least every month and a half, 2 months or so, we hear about a transgender, is typically a transgender black woman, born a man, now living her life as a woman, that's found dead somewhere, stuffed in a suitcase, dead in the streets, or dead in a box, or dead in the woods. It's the truth. For whatever reason, I don't know. Now, you know me, I'm all about full disclosure. You know, if you're transgender, you should tell folks, because yeah, you know, that could be a problem. That could be a real problem. Let me see. I'm going backwards here. Brenda writes, the teacher needs a peppermint patty break. Sit down, right? Jericho writes, fake news. Black people get demeaned, joked on all the time. Do you see us trying to cancel comedians, rappers, show hosts, Quentin Tarantino? Come on now, let's be honest. Well, let's be honest then, because people did try to cancel Quentin Tarantino. People did. He uses the N-word too much in his movies. People did. I had these debates with people because I'm like, that's art. People talked about Jackie Brown, which is a good movie. I like Jackie Brown, some strong performances. It was the resurgence of Pam Grier, who back in the day was in every black man's fantasy file, and for good reasons. Yummy. Yummy. Yes. A younger version of Pam Grier will remain in the fantasy files of a lot of black men. And remember the character played by Sam Jackson, who, by the way, is probably one of the best, if not the best actor going right now. He's better than Denzel. Sam Jackson is better than Denzel Washington. I'm just going to put it right now. Sam Jackson is a better actor. He's got more range than Denzel Washington. I'm not ishing on Denzel, but Sam Jackson is one of the greatest of all time, Craig. Of all time. And his character, Odell Roby, was masterful. Remember that? Remember when he killed Chris Tucker in the back of that caddy? It's always the back of the caddy when bad things happen. And I'll say it again. If you haven't seen Django, man, Django is such a good movie. A lot of N-words. But the number one performance is not Jamie Foxx. Jamie's okay. He's good. I like the idea of a black Western where the black cowboy saves the black damsel in distress. If you look at the history of Westerns, typically there's always a white damsel in distress. And the cowboy, the protagonist of the movie, will go through heaven and hell to save his woman. So we need more movies with black protagonists that go through heaven and hell to save the black woman. That's one of the number one reasons why I like that movie. That's just me. The wifey won't watch it. She still hasn't seen Django. She will not watch. I'm like, come on, you got to watch this, love. No, I want to watch it. Okay. But the character, the house Negro played by Sam Jackson, he should have got an Oscar for that. The only reason they want to do it because it would be politically incorrect. He going to give him an Oscar for playing the house Negro. but he played the best house Negro ever. Oh my God, it was pure art. You got to watch it. It's worth your time. It's worth your time, trust me. Kevin writes, I know I'm gonna piss some folks off, but I think folks getting soft. We getting butthurt over everything. Part of tolerance should be being able to laugh at oneself. It is what it is. That's true. That's true. But we can't tell, if you're not transgender, you can't tell transgender people how to feel. The same way, if you're not black, you can't tell black folks how to feel. I'm not transgender. Kevin, I'm going to go on a limb here. I don't believe you're transgender. So we can't tell the LGBTQ transgender community how to feel about Dave Chappelle. It is not fair for us to do that. It ain't fair. You're talking about some arrogance. That's some supreme arrogance right there. You're going to tell somebody else how they should react to something that uniquely touches them. That ain't right. That is not right, in my humble opinion. Nat writes, it's much more complicated than that. There's a power dynamic. These are white men saying they are white women now. XX-born women are starting to push back. Okay. I hear what you're saying, brother. I get you. Crystal writes, Pam Greer or Pam Griggity. Not sure if I spelled her last name correctly, but I love her so much. We share the same birthday, May 26th. She chilling on her ranch, raising her horses. I'm going to meet her one day. That'll be dope. Post it. Post it. Oh, man. Tremendous actress. Sister Iris writes, how do you watch and not help out? I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't live with myself afterward. That's just me personally. I ain't trying to talk like some big tough guy, because I'm not. I don't need to act like I'm nothing that I'm not. But I just feel like I wouldn't be able to live with myself. And I got a wife and a daughter. I got to come home and look at them in the face and tell them what I did. I mean, it's just some things that's worth dying for. I'm just telling you. It's just some things worth dying for. Gladys writes, I had been a fan of Sam ever since coming to America. Crystal writes, but they gave Hattie McDaniel an Oscar for being a mammy in Gone with the Wind. FOH. Yes, they did. Very true. Drop writes, I saw Pam Grier on the big screen in the 70s. And depending on what movie, you saw all of Pam Grier in the 70s. You saw all of her. Jerica writes, if you're not a man or a woman, you can't tell the opposite sex about how they should feel as if it's done very frequently. Yeah, I agree with that. On some levels. I think if you're talking about relationships, that becomes a little bit more difficult. But if you're talking about how people should react to oppression, that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody can tell black people how we can react to oppression, even gender discrimination. Like, I can never tell a woman how she should react to what she perceives to be gender inequality. I can't do that. Now, what I can do is talk about relationships from a male perspective. I can talk about that. I don't think in any way that invalidates or speaks for a woman. And I don't think that as a black heterosexual man, I can tell a black transgender woman if she should be upset about Dave Chappelle. If she's upset, she's upset. And I just got to take it for what it is and try to figure it out. And do I understand or not? But I can't tell them how to feel. That's different. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Tracy writes, you told Jerica yesterday that her reaction was wrong because she cared more than your wife, but go off. Huh? What? You told Jerica yesterday that her reaction was wrong because she cared more than your wife, but go off. I told Jerica yesterday. Okay, let me understand where you're coming from with this. I told Jerica yesterday. So Jerica yesterday, let me plug back in on what we talked about yesterday, because for me it's binge and purge, right? You're all into it one day, then you just forget about it and you move on to the next topic. So let me plug back in. What I corrected yesterday, so Jerica gave an opinion about what she thought my reaction was and what my motivation was. And Jerica or you or anybody else don't know me better than I know me. So she gave her opinion about why she thought my motivation was, or what she thought my motivation was. And I simply corrected sis. That's just like you, Tracy. I could never tell you what you think. And so Jerica nor you can tell me what I'm thinking. If you want to know what I'm thinking, you can have an opinion like, well, Nate, I think you did this because of that. Okay, I hear you. But then I'm going to tell you what my real motivation was. So that's what that was all about. And yes, she did care more about it than my wife did. My wife, and I told her about the show afterward, we both had a chuckle about it. She was like, what is going on with people? Y'all need to stop. That woman is special. That's all I can see. That's all I can say about the wifey. She's special. TNT writes, the people on the scene of the George Floyd murder are traumatized as witnesses and battle the what if I did this could have saved George Floyd. That guilt will eat you alive. So those on that train has that burned into their brain, and it should be right. They're going to pay. If they're people of conscience, because some people are sociopaths and psychopaths, they don't feel nothing. They do things, move on. But if you're a person of conscience and feelings, I can see that sitting with you for the rest of your days. You're going to end up in therapy because you're going to always ask yourself, why didn't I step in? I should have done something. I should have said something. And, I feel more for the victim in that case more than anybody else. But I think you're right about that. And I did see that. They are traumatized. They're going to be traumatized for the rest of their life. And they'll never know whether stepping in could have saved George Floyd's life or not. Crystal writes, just some levels on that, huh? So who is the arbiter of what is perceived as oppression? I can't. I think the arbiter of what is perceived as what is perceived as oppression, Crystal, is the beholder. It's up to you. So for instance, you might have two transgender people sitting side by side in the audience. One person might feel like, oh, I'm offended. The other person may not. I think both of those viewpoints are valid. I think both will be valid. Woody writes, I met Pam Grier at my sister's wedding. Really? Huh? Jerica writes, as a man, even in a relationship, you can't tell a woman how to react. You aren't a woman. You're correct. I'm not a woman. Tracy writes, we're talking about telling people that they are wrong about how they feel. She felt you were butthurt. And again, now I see why you want to come back to this, and I'm here for it. Believe me, I'm here for it. But I don't see. Yes, you're correct. She did feel I was butthurt, and she was wrong. So we come back in full circle. She's entitled for her opinion, but since you're talking about me, I'm entitled to set the record straight, right? So both things are true. So I'll say it again. You're right. She did feel as if I was butthurt, but I was not. I have no reason to be. Angela writes, my nephew, sister, and niece are definitely traumatized from the George Floyd murder. They were there. My nephew, Christopher Martin, is the clerk that testified, felt like it was his fault. They're doing better now, but they were so scared. Yeah, I've seen you post this before, Angela, and I appreciate you being so transparent. I do remember the testimony of Christopher Martin, and he was shook. And he did take it personally. He said that he wished he had never said anything and let the whole thing go. Because if I remember correctly, and correctly if I'm wrong, Angela, he said he felt as if George Floyd didn't know that it was a counterfeit 20. He said some of the people he was with, he kind of read them and he felt like they knew, but he said he didn't feel like George Floyd knew. And think about this. This was all over a $20 bill, a counterfeit, allegedly $20 bill. $20? That's the measure of a black man's worth? $20? I mean, if I'm the law enforcement officer, I got to do my job, but I ain't getting super tough about a $20 bill. I'm going to save all that for the pedophiles, for the murderers, for the rapists, for the real arch criminals out here, for the psychopath. Anyway, Gladys writes, I watched David's 846 over the weekend, right on target. David's 846. I'm not hip to something. Didi writes, the wifey is special. Her debut in the Boss movie is tonight. Love her and her. I am not worried about this petty-ish attitude. Yeah, she don't get caught up on that. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to Boston tonight. It should be a lot of fun. I want to celebrate these sisters. Can't wait to be in the house. Eric writes, regarding the train incident, people who do not get paid and are not trained to intervene like cops should not be compelled to get involved and put their life on the line for somebody else. I got family at home to get back to. You know what? I appreciate your strength and your honesty, Eric. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because that's valid. You know, that's a valid opinion right there. I can't say it's wrong. Crystal writes, so we shouldn't have any more arguments here about male and females. Noted. Um, okay, until we do. Crystal Wainwright writes, Crystal Wheelwright. I keep saying Wainwright. Nathan. Crystal Wheelwright writes, I don't believe Nate was butthurt. I watched the video. I wasn't. If I was, I'd tell you. I mean, why wouldn't I just be honest with you? I don't get it. I thought about it afterward, and I think what it is people are used to me talking about politics and school board and stuff like that. So when I talk about stuff outside of where people usually see you, they don't, it's like, well, why is he doing this? And I love that. I don't want to be what you expect all the time. I'm not, hell nah. I'm going to push the envelope. I'm going to change some things. I'm going to challenge things. I'm going to present myself in different lights. I mean, I might talk about whatever. I keep saying it. This show is about people, politics, and pleasure, not just politics. People, politics, and pleasure. It's really always been that way. But what's happened is, especially in the run up to the election, we've been talking about heavy politics, and rightly so, because we have a role to play in that, and you should expect that. But I have multiple interests. I like to talk about, relationships from a male standpoint, and just the relationships, which is a form of politics on some levels, between those dynamics between men and women. I have a lot more to share, and I'm going to share it, damn it, no matter what people thinks. What thinks? The White writes, I bet Chauvin wishes somebody would have stepped in and pushed him off George Floyd now. Yeah. He probably wishes this every day, thinking about that 20 plus years incarceration. Right. And you are a law enforcement officer behind bars. Washburn writes, period, Nate. I don't know why Jericho wanted to believe that. I don't know why she was so invested in believing I was butthurt. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Drop rights. Let's go, Brandon. You oh man, Crystal writes, until we do, okay, here for it. Gonna bring his conversation back. Oh, absolutely. We ain't gonna stop doing that. You already know. Your rights, you do you, Nate. You already know. You are. If I was a weaker man, you wouldn't want to listen. Why would you listen to some weak ass pushover man or host? Why would you want to listen to that? I know I wouldn't. So I'm gonna do me. The comedy special 846 seconds Dave Chappelle did on George Floyd and revealed the same cops that killed John Crawford III in Beaver Creek, Ohio Walmart had pulled him over the week before they murdered him. Is that right? What? Damn, is that? I didn't know. I got to check that out then. Oh, that's the 846? I don't think I've seen that one. I got to check it out. I'm in and out with the pop culture stuff and the movie watching. Sometimes I get a chance to watch 2 or 3 shows, and sometimes I don't watch Netflix for what seems like a month or two. And it's just what it is, It's on YouTube. I'll check it out. Thank you for that. Hitting me to the game. I appreciate that. Iron sharpens iron. I appreciate it. Hey, listen, I'm looking at the clock. It's about that time. I don't want to leave you hanging. All right. But I got to make a move. Today is a big, big day. It's a lot of stuff going on. As I told you, and to my patrons, you've got a better inside track. I'm getting closer to a new creative space, which I think is essential for what I want to do in the near future. And I will need your help with that, perhaps, as we build that out. And it's very, very exciting. But I got a couple of very important things I got to do today to the end. And I'll just leave it like that. If you're not a patron, jump on, man. Jump on, because you're going to get some insights as to what the plans are faster than anybody else. And then, the donations that you make go directly back into the show. In fact, I don't make enough from Patreon to take care of everything we got to take care of right now, but I want to put more effort into it because I think it'd be a real resource for us. And shout out to all my patrons and for your support and dealing with me. Sometimes I'm on there more than others, but I'm 100% focused on there because I've got some goals that are right in front of us that could be very, very exciting and a lot of fun and a real resource for the community here in the city of Cincinnati. And I'll just leave it like that. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Don't forget, I'm not sure. I think that Ashley posted that the Boss event had sold out, but I would just double check if you're interested. Support Black women and support Black artists as well here in the greater Cincinnati area. Looking forward to this documentary. And we talked with Ashley a couple weeks back. This sister did this on her own. Look at what we doing. Just look at all the beautiful things that we doing in this city, man. I love it. I'm here for all of it. So I want to celebrate all these sisters, all these beautiful Black intelligent women. And I want to celebrate Ashley as well. So I'm looking forward to it. So I will be in the house today. Looking forward to it, the wifey and I. And it should be a good time. Looking forward to it. Also, don't forget, my friends over at Renew Community Church are at it again. They're back at it again. Check out this live stream this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Why do couples cheat and argue? Learn how to develop wholesome relationships, all right? You can watch this on Facebook or YouTube, whatever you feel the most comfortable with. And it's just a live stream. All you got to do is you can tap in when you want to and tap out when you get ready. You know, check out Straight Talk Live. In fact, Edna has another very interesting guest lined up for you this Sunday. There's a promo that's circulating right now. Check out Straight Talk this Sunday at 10 a.m. And then check back in and check out Renew Community Church at 11:45 a.m. All right. Why do couples cheat and argue? All right. Have an excellent rest of your day. Don't forget you can early vote starting. It started back on October the 5th, and early voting will go forward to November the 1st. So you got the rest of this week, all of next week, and then Monday. And then, of course, Election Day is November the 2nd. I'm planning on early voting. I'm not going to work on because Election Day, I'm going to be working, doing stuff for the Nathan Ivey Show and for CDM. So I won't have time to vote. And I want to get out there and talk with the people. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be early voting. You can early vote over the Hamilton County Board of Elections and, do your due diligence. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. Remember our motto. Remember the motto, winners focus on winning. And losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. Until tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 a.m., I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.
Good morning, Choppers. I'm Scotty Johnson, candidate for Cincinnati City Council. Unfortunately, injustice remains in the city of Cincinnati. A remedy for injustice is courageous, bold leadership. I plan on bringing that type of leadership to City Hall. It's time to stop talking about it and to start doing something about it. Disparities have been in Cincinnati far too long. I'm the candidate to address those disparities. Vote Scotty Johnson for Cincinnati City Council.
Paid for by friends of Scotty Johnson.
Yeah, talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand. I'm back
again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a fuck, I don't care. Did the for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my told him it's nothing. In the discussion, for them feelings I throw on my pain on percussion. It's disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you almost spotted the feast. I've been on go mode, show mode, showboat, rowboat, way